Fresh and Fit done lost their mind, and this debate with Tim Dillon sort of proves it. So they started off the debate talking about Pearl. Now, I, for one, hate when we even try to intellectualize a stance that Pearl takes. That's why I stopped making videos about Pearl, bro. Because I came to the realization, bro, that whatever Pearl say or do is strictly for the bag, bro. It's a grift. So even trying to intellectualize it, rationalize it, critiques it, it's a waste of time for me, bro. Because we know Pearl don't believe it. We know Pearl's doing this for the bag.
Let's shift a little bit into the more political space, because you mentioned feminism.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to talk about that in the bigger picture, where we're at with that. But I want to start with this tweet from Pearl Davis.
Okay.
It's got 12.1 million views, 1,734 reposts, 34,000 likes, has been quoted 3,638 times, and it is a picture of her wearing a shirt saying women shouldn't vote. Should women vote?
I think their vote should carry half as much weight as men's. If I'm
So
be honest,
you're in the middle.
I'm in the middle. I think women should have the ability to vote, and it depending on what position they hold. If they're in the military and they're some type of government service, then I think absolutely their vote should count all the way. But if it's just a female and she doesn't have any type of civil service or anything else like that, then I think it should be. And this goes for the men too.
No, that's not how this works, bro. It can be for men as well, because you started off by saying women vote should be weighted half as the men vote. That's how I know that dudes just be talking and they give no thought to these arguments and they just be like, just filibustering. So, all right, bro, let me show you ninjas how math work, all right? If women vote on a general scale should weigh 50% as male votes, right? And then you're saying that men who are not in civic duties, their vote should be 50% of the men who are in civic duties. And that will mean their vote will only be weighted as 25% compared to the men who are actually military and committed to civic duty. And the women who are in the military and committed to civic duty, their vote will be 50% to the men who are in civic duty. So regardless of how Myron try to flip it and try to pull mental gymnastics, the outcome is always the same. The women vote will always be counted as less as the men vote, regardless of what their occupation is. And if that's the outcome, if the women vote will always be counted as less, then just come out and say that, bro. Like, no need to pull the mental gymnastics when it's always the same outcome.
Right. Certain guys shouldn't vote either. If you're working at McDonald's, etc., should your vote count all the way?
Well,
no.
So
see, this is what I call bourgeois ninja syndrome, right? Is when you elevate and get to a certain tax bracket, you now start looking down upon people who are in the very same position that you were in a couple of years ago. Fresh and Fit's audience are young, impressionable men who are looking to Myron and Fresh for self-improvement, right? They're looking for the guide to self-improve and better their life because they're not in the financial position that they want to be. So how should those men feel that you're saying that their vote should count as less? You got to start treating these third world country red pill dudes like how Eisenhower treated the communists, bro. Lock down the borders and lock them up, bro. Because they come to this country, enjoy democracy, enjoy the freedoms that made them self-made millionaires, and then they turn around and try to peddle ideology to break down the very same democracy that made them successful. Is y'all out of your minds? And the thing with Fresh and Fit is they know they're being watched. Like, they know that YouTube is looking for a reason to take down their channel. And you pushing this on a public platform like Tim Dillon, bro, you asking to get deleted.
And it's not a question of, in your mind, women. It's a question of, should people not engaged in civic duty vote?
Yes, but to be honest with it, let's keep it 1,000. That's gonna immediately put a majority of women as only half voters.
Right.
Then just say that, nigga. Like, you don't gotta peddle the mental gymnastics. Just say how you feel, bro. Women votes should count as 50% as men votes because you believe men are just inherently or just naturally better than women. Just say that.
Because that's the career fields that's the career fields and life decisions that women make in general.
Well, so yeah, do you want to respond to this?
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here, but I think part of the problem is that the view, I guess our views of women are so much different, because when I think of a woman, I think of a woman who runs a household and raises children and does the most beautiful thing that you can possibly do. So I see so much inherent value in, I think,
which we agree is important.
Okay, but I kind of feel like what we're doing here is we've trained as men, women, we've incentivized certain behavior, and now we want to discount them because they're giving the men what they're asking for, which is OnlyFans, Instagram, ass shots. And then we're saying now suddenly that they're somehow less valuable.
I'll expound on that idea by saying that Myron and Fresh and Fit and these red pill dudes do shows daily where they're preaching to women to be more traditional, and they tell women to prioritize being a mother, being a wife first, and don't worry about being a career woman. Don't worry about being career driven. Be as feminine as possible, submit to your man, and prioritize being a mother and a wife. Well, if they prioritize being a mother and a wife and they take your advice and they don't earn these degrees and they be more traditional, then wouldn't that disqualify them under your logic? Like, wouldn't that disqualify them from having their votes counted as equals? So essentially, bro, like, you're just preaching an ideology to where women will always be less than men.
To the tango.
Well,
right. A lot of the stuff that we're seeing women do, it's like men
They're
are
filling demand is all they're doing.
Well, we allowed them to do this, so you are correct in that sense, because as men, we're leaders. But I will say this, if we're talking about votes here, women are more easily swayed to one direction or another, because once again, they follow leadership to depending on who they see as important. So ultimately speaking, if I'm going to go for votes, I sway the women, I'm going to win.
So you're
Yo, deport these niggas, man. deport these niggas, man. Listen, like the red pill stuff is it's nonsense, bro. Now they're trying to overthrow our democracy. Yo, deport these niggas, bro.
But what you're saying is that we as men are ineffective leaders, and therefore, because we cannot lead properly, that now the women should have a half a vote or no vote or what. Like, to me, I'm always like looking first internally. What did I do? How did I fail here? Or what was the point of failure that happened here in leadership? And everything I'm hearing is like men have failed in many.
Well,
Yeah, by letting women vote. So that's how they fail. I mean, let's give it 1,000.
So first, I'll address what you said. I believe the science is clear that women are more agreeable, men are more disagreeable.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's harder to convince a guy. He'll challenge you. He'll headbutt you. A woman is going to try and make things smooth over. Yeah. There's a lot of positives to being agreeable and a lot of negatives to being disagreeable, and vice versa. It's pros and cons. Men and women are different and complementary.
Yes.
Now, there's an agenda, though, of course. We can go deeper here, get more serious. But to be real here, men were at the helm of this because, once again, we put certain policies in place, we allow things to happen, and as a result, the family's destroyed. Now, when it comes to women, obviously, they're human beings as well. Equally, we're all human beings. But to be fair, when it comes to voting and political views, they can be swayed in any direction, which means, by default, they should vote.
But so
look, man, let's
Nigga, what? Yo, if anybody, listen, I'll cash at you because I'm being serious. If anybody can decipher what Fresh was saying, bruh, can y'all please comment down what Fresh is saying here, bruh? Because I don't understand a goddamn thing Fresh just said, bruh. I'm not trying to be mean, because, again, I stutter too. I have a speech impediment, all right? But that wasn't no speech impediment, bruh. That was just an inability to connect complex thoughts he had in his mind, right? He probably was thinking about something complex, and he just couldn't, I guess, link the dots or make the connections, bruh. So can y'all please just break down for me what Fresh is saying here, bruh? Because I don't know what this nigga's saying at all.
Women are communitarian in general. They tend to vote Democrat. They tend to vote for, hey, let's give everybody $1 versus giving the best person $1. They don't base their values a lot of times are not aligned with meritocracy. They want everyone to benefit, which is cool, I guess, if you like communism. But if you're a capitalistic guy, you want the best to succeed. And unfortunately, a lot of the times, women don't believe in meritocracy. They believe in communitarianism.
Deport this nigga, man. Deport, because now he's saying, Democrats shouldn't be able to vote at all. It went from women shouldn't be able to vote. Now, because women are Democrats and, and they want to give out handouts and help everybody, all right, they can't vote. You might as well just get rid of every Democrat vote then, bro. But what are we doing here? I was never a big shut down the border guy because I'm a foreigner, right? And I got here, right, by crossing the border. Well, no, by flying in and crossing the border. But there gotta be some better screening, bro. Because ain't no way y'all allowed this brother to enter into this country with this ideologue.
Go back to some of the common points brought up from suffrage.
Yeah.
So this is typically, I feel like it's typically not talked about that there were a lot of women who opposed women's suffrage because initially it was tied to civic duty.
Yes.
Men who were voting had to be on the fire brigade. You had to, you could be drafted. You could go and die. And so with that, the idea is like, if we can force you to go fight and die, you get a say in a vote as to who decides.
Absolutely.
Women can't be forced to go off and fight and die, so they should not have a say in these matters.
That's a big part of the reason why I say they should get 50% is because women don't have to join the selective service.
So first off, they conveniently skipped the part where Men who could vote were actually in the military. They were actually police officers. They were actually actively serving their communities. You've been a podcaster who make YouTube videos, who had to sign up for selective service when you turned 18 years old, who would never see the draft. Like, you would never in your lifetime experience selective service. You are not going to get drafted. You're not ever going to serve in the military. Like, right? So essentially, you're just a podcaster who signed a document at 18 years old. That makes you more qualified than a man who works at McDonald's 12 hours a day slaving to feed his family. That makes you more qualified than that hardworking American. You a podcaster who speaks for a living. Like, that makes you more qualified than a woman. But here's where their argument breaks down.
I talked about this at length, why I said I don't think women should be in the military, especially in combat positions. I mean, if they want to be nurses and medics, that's fine. But in infantry, I am against women being in infantry. And the reason why is because I know that, and I have a buddy that's a Navy SEAL, and we talked about this extensively. When women are in combat, guys are going to do stupid things to protect the woman that might compromise the entire unit, because men have an innate need to protect and provide for women. So guys know in the military, like, dude, she's not as strong as me. She might have an AR or whatever, but she ain't going to be able to go hand in hand with a guy. She ain't going to be able to fight and defend herself at the same level. So guys are going to have a little bit more of a protector instinct and put themselves in compromising positions.
If these dudes don't understand how psychotic it is to say women shouldn't be in the military, and then on the other hand say women shouldn't vote or their vote should count less because they're not in the military, then I can't really help them, bro. Then I don't know what else to say. Because if you're saying women shouldn't be in the military because them being in the military put the military at risk and it weakens the military, now you're saying, oh, that because they can't sign up for selective service, that you don't want them to be able to sign up to, that you will support legislations that keep them away from selective service, that men who were in your position in the past supported women not being in selective service. Now you're saying that because they are not in selective service, they shouldn't be able to vote? Right? It makes no sense, man. But y'all let me know in the comment section, man, what y'all think about this, right? But while you guys are here, man, click on the video somewhere on my screen to find out why Zherka admitting this will ultimately ruin his career. I'm going to see you guys in this video somewhere on my screen, all right? I'm out of here, folks. Peace.